I would have liked to start my observations. सब्जेक्ट बहुत गंभीर है, इसलिए मुझे अंग्रेजी में बोलने दीजिए. Normally, when I start my observations, I always appreciate the mover of the discussion or raiser of the discussion. But this is on a particular motion on which I cannot do it, even technically, because it is adjournment motion. And at the end of it, I will have to oppose the adjournment motion. But surely, I would like to appreciate senior leader Sri Advaniji's Jan Chetna Yatra, and as a finance minister, like any other finance minister, would like to watch the outcome of his yatra. If it can influence the tax evaders, tax dodgers, black money generators to reduce their activities and help the exchequer to get the money, resources due to it. As I understood, Jan Chetna means to create awareness amongst the people, to create some sort of social awareness. And if it is achieved, surely I would like to congratulate him for taking that trouble at this age to have such an arduous journey from one end to the other end. Having said that, coming to the subject, I would also like to first start with how black money is generated, what is the quantum of black money, what steps we have taken, what steps we could not take. I am not going to enter into debate to win some brownie points here and there, because the issue is serious, and like many other serious issues, I would like this House to debate, discuss, and decide how effective steps can be taken to get rid of this menace, where whatever be the quantum, I am not indulging in any fancy figure, because I do not have the liberty to indulge in that fancy figure because of the office which I am occupying. The figures which I have, according to some reports of the Swiss Bankers Association, which after my 2 years sincere efforts, I could not locate where this association is, what they do. When I asked through my ambassador to the Swiss government, they expressed their inability to identify any such organization like that. But this organization has very prominent place in India media for several days together. So I am starting with their assessment. Their assessment is 1,500 billion to 1,900 billion US dollar. According to BJP's task force, which was circulated during the general election of April 2009, if my figure is incorrect, somebody from that other side will correct me. It is varying from 500 billion US dollar to 1,400 billion US dollar. According to the Global Financial Integrity, from 1948, 1 year after independence, to 2008, all these 60 years, 213 billion US dollar lost by India since independence till 2008, from 48 to 2008. Current value would be of that $213 billion, $462 billion. But none of these, of course not the non-existing agencies, all of them they had adopted certain parameters and from there they assumed. Therefore, the first task when this debate started I wanted to have an authentic and authoritative assessment, if possible to make by three important, not one, three important institutions. One is National Institute of Public Finance and Policy, another is National Institute of Financial Management, third one is National Council of Applied Economic Research. I have mandated them to make an assessment independently. All three, I will provide them the necessary cost to come out with a dependable assessment of the size of quantum of black money. Now, what type of strategies we are having? I have discussed this issue on the floor, on other forum. What I am talking of the five-pronged strategy. First, we may have emotion. We may indulge in having very high-sounding phrases, but it does not help me when I am to act with other sovereign countries. There are laws, there are international practices, there are norms, I shall have to follow it. Therefore, if the information I want to have, how can I have the information? The instrumentality which is available to us, double taxation avoidance agreement, we can collect bank information through this double taxation avoidance agreement. We have 82 double taxation avoidance agreements. For quite some time, these double taxation avoidance agreements are being signed to facilitate that those entities who are having cross-country operations, they are not to pay tax on both the countries. Therefore, primarily to facilitate, it is a trade facilitator. But when this issue became very prominent, and here I would like to most respectfully submit to Advariji that this did not become concern of the world with the UN Convention. UN Convention dealt substantially on money related to drug trafficking, narcotics, crimes, which are funding terror activities. UN Convention 2003 are substantially dealing with it. Of course, tax evasion avoidance is one part, but many countries, tax evasion, tax avoidance, unless there is fraud, it is not a crime. Large number of countries. Therefore, but the issue came to the international forum. This issue was debated in the international forum after the London summit of G20 in October 2008. And thereafter, it was followed by Pittsburgh summit. It was followed by Seoul. And it was followed after that the last summit at Cannes, where our Prime Minister very strongly pleaded for an automatic exchange of information. I would like to quote his observations from there. what Prime Minister said. I am quoting. G20 countries should take the lead in agreeing to automatic exchange of tax-related information with each other, irrespective of artificial distinctions such as present or past, tax evasion or tax fraud, in the spirit of our London summit, that the era of bank secrecy is over. It is not lack of initiative. From 2010 to November 2011, before the summit, the G20 finance ministers meet. It is my recorded speech in every meeting, including on 12th February at Paris, that we shall have to ensure that we get this information through automatic. And what observations were made by international commentators on the Prime Minister's speech. I am quoting. It is the GFI, as Advaniji quoted very profusely from GFI. GFI noted in the recent press release, I quote, while the final declaration mentioned automatic exchange of tax information as a potentially useful tool in tackling non-cooperative jurisdiction, it stopped short of calling for its implementation, instead of stating that they would consider it on a voluntary basis or as appropriate. OECD is also recognizing this. In replying to a question in an interview published in today's Economic Times, the OECD spokesperson is saying, I must say, when somebody asked him that why we are not getting the information, I am quoting his observations. I quote, I must say that you, within bracket Indians, are being very impatient. If you look at other countries, the process to get the agreement signed, its ratification and implementation itself has taken a lot of time. India started this process 18 months ago and has signed 22 agreements already. This is more than the numbers of the agreements United States has. Your tax administration is building capacity to make use of these agreements. India has done a good job on this score and also highlighting the issue of the G20, but it takes time, so you must have some patience. And they have recognized India is one of the 3 fast-moving countries in this direction. It is true. We started on 18 months or 2 years ago. Why? For the very same reason as you mentioned once, that during your tenure, during our tenure, all the banks, not merely Swiss bank, all the banks located at tax havens. Tax havens are not located in developing poor countries like India. All of them are located in the industrialized developed countries. They doggedly refused to share banking information in the avoidance of double taxation agreement. Therefore, you could not do anything. We could not do anything. But when the G20 countries, including USA, they put pressure, then they started negotiating, and the figures I have given of total number of double taxation agreements, we started with 75. We have completed double taxation avoidance agreement amendment incorporating clause 26 of OECD, in our agreement clause 28, where sharing of the bank informations have been agreed upon. Today, including the new double taxation agreement, where we have inserted this clause automatically along with the main agreement, tax exchange information agreement with the sovereign jurisdictions, we have completed out of 75, 60. And remaining are in the process of negotiation. So I do hope it would be possible for us to complete this exercise within that. That provides us the opportunity. Even with Switzerland, we have completed the agreement. A lot of misinformation has stated that we have signed the agreement with 2012. I do not know from where this date has come. When the agreement was signed with Switzerland, I am not to get this information from anybody else because I am the signatory, along with the Swiss federal ministers. In September 2010, they said we will give you prospective information, not retrospective. And please believe me, no country of the world, not even USA, not even France, not even UK, got information from Switzerland through the legal treaty retrospectively. Nobody did get it. Everybody got prospectively. What happened in case of Switzerland? They said it will be done on 1st of April 2011. I said, why can't you do it earlier? They said, look, Mr. Minister, unlike your countries, we have a very elaborate provision of ratification of international treaty and agreement. I am not quite sure whether I will be able to complete it in 1 year. Both the houses of parliament of Switzerland will have to pass it. After that, it will go to all the cantons. They will have to ratify it. A specific period of 4 to 6 weeks are to be given to each canton. And ultimately it was ratified, not even on 1st of April 2011. It became effective, ratified in October 2011. But it will be effective from 1st of April. We will get the information. And whatever information we will get, definitely we will like to act on it. One of the observations has been made. I am just like to quote one article of Mr. Anne Hollingshead. He is saying that the more important, I quote, the more important and more effective course of action is to stem the outflow in the first place. And in recent months, India has significantly expanded its efforts in this area. To this end, India recently joined the Financial Task Force and the Task Force on Financial Integrity and Economic Development Partnership Panel. It has completed negotiations of 16 new tax information, which I have shared with you. And he has also stated that India is one of the 3 countries which have been recognized as doing quite strong and well in operating against the black money. Surely self-criticism is good, but not self-condemnation. I have no problem if we criticize. Entire exercise started from the Pittsburgh summit and still the process is yet to be completed. It is to be completed in the sense because automatic exchange information, past information is not yet available. Advani has raised a number of points. Of those points, I would like to respond. First of all, it will have to be seen what is he has referred to the act of dirty money. He discussed the dirty money. I heard with great attention of Advani's discourse on dirty money relating to drug trafficking, etc. We are fully aware of it. And to take appropriate action, this Parliament has received the legislation, Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act, which has been introduced in Lok Sabha in last monsoon session, is currently under the consideration of the Standing Committee. And Standing Committee, when it will send its reports, surely with those reports we will work on it. Swiss Bank I have already mentioned. Yes, French accounts are there, but your interpretation is not correct. Not once. Twice I had meeting with French finance minister. I said some of our countrymen are saying this information you did not get from legal sources. You had some other tricks. I don't want to know what tricks you have. But can I disclose this information? He said, no, Mr. Minister. You are getting information from me through the legal channel of the double taxation avoidance agreement. From where I got information is not your business. Between two sovereign countries, I am sharing exchange of information with the conditions which Mr. Thakur rightly quoted, that for tax purposes, if criminality is being established, all tax avoidance cases, all tax evasion cases, all concealment cases in this country till today are not the penal offences, are not the criminal offences. Neither your government did it, nor my government did it. And we consider it is proper. Income tax department is not to administer IPC. Our job is to prevent tax evasion, tax avoidance, and if we get the taxes, we are satisfied. If you feel strongly that no, it should have been done, what prevented you? 6 years? Because we know what job is to be done by whom, insisting on getting information. Dispassionately let us think of it. The information which I have, 36,000 pieces of information, names from different countries, to satisfy the inquisitorial interest of the members of parliament, I publish it. Tomorrow the same countries will tell Mr. Minister, you have violated the international agreement. Sorry, we will not share any information with you. What should we do? We will dry up the sources. I will publicize the names. Please don't forget, these people are not knaves. They know. When they are operating black money, they know. Disclosure of the names. Immediately they will withdraw the money from their respective banks. You will not be able to trace it. when you collect information, and particularly when the suggestion comes from the former Home Minister of the country, Deputy Prime Minister of the country, who will give the... Please listen. There is an element of surprise. You get information, Income Tax Department, they get information that somebody is holding black money, somebody is holding unaccounted money. Should I publicize or should I go and search and seize the money? How the intelligence are collected? There is an element of surprise. How the informations are collected? There is an element of surprise. TT, I can show it to you, that what are the conditions under which these are being given. Yes, when there is a case of money laundering, when there is a case of criminal activities, when these persons are prosecuted, definitely the names can come, names can be disclosed. What great thing you achieved? So many speculations were made. Mr. Advani has referred to a judgment. Former Deputy Prime Minister is referring to a judgment of Ram Jadman and his case. The judgment is not yet complete. It was interim judgment. Department has challenged that judgment. The two judge benches decided. One retained the judgment, another disagreed. It has been sent to the other bench. The judicial process is yet to be completed and we are discussing in the Parliament. I would have ignored if it was mentioned by anybody else. But when it comes from the former Deputy Prime Minister or Home Minister of the country, I am really little disturbed over it. The process has not yet been completed and we have challenged the judgment and it is under there. Another issue which has been remarked, that is about the actions which we have taken. Yes, 66,000 crores of rupees we have unearthed. We have unearthed 66,000 crores of rupees. We have established a criminal wing in the Income Tax Department now. What would you achieve? What did you achieve? What was your performance of the Transfer Pricing Act was passed during your time? What was the performance? How much money you received by preventing transfer pricing? Because today, please understand, I am not blaming anybody, because we did not have that expertise. Those who are the tax evaders, those who are tax avoiders, they are equally clever persons and they know what to do, how to operate. Therefore, this is a battle, constant battle of wit between the tax dodgers, tax evaders, and those who are enacting the tax laws, who are implementing the tax law. My respectful submission would be the issue is very serious. We shall have to find out, we shall have to, this is that how to prevent it, how to bring it back. When we locate it, somebody has suggested declare national assets. Yes, I declare national assets. This Parliament declares national asset. Money located in Swiss bank is national asset. How do you get it? Should I send forces? Because we can get only through the tax agreement. We can get it only through international agreement. Yes, there are, particularly, that aspect is to be kept in mind. What has been pointed out, that even CSA, where it has been stated that substantially, even the Swiss Restoration Act, you have referred to the Swiss Restoration Act, which has been passed in 2011, you expect what action we have taken? And what is the content of that act? Content of that act is not merely a tax dodgers, tax evaders, tax avoiders, those who are politically associated. You have referred to the former president of Philippines. I am not going to take the name of the countries where somebody taught us that India is the first among the black money, first among the countries whose citizens have black money in foreign banks. I got some list. For obviously I cannot mention the name of the country. Out of 10 countries, nowhere India is there, out of the first 10 countries. But we can easily say that India is on the topmost list. Yes, there are people. There are black money. There are unaccounted money. Those unaccounted money are to be brought in. And please analyze the existing act. Somebody demanded that you will have to confiscate. When we can establish, if PMLA is applied, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, we are making the provisions more stringent. I have given notice to this House to introduce the bill, and this session itself, the bill will be introduced, but mere introduction does not help me. If it is not passed, and it cannot be passed, if half of the sessions we go on, we are talking of the sovereignty of the parliament. Yes, we are sovereign. We are talking of the image of the politicians. Therefore, let us declare. No harm in declaring. I can issue instruction to my income tax department that you put a clause while filing the returns. They will have to make a statement whether they hold any unaccounted money. Nobody will say that I hold an unaccounted money. Nobody will say that I am a black money holder in foreign bank. But despite that, we can try to squeeze as much information as possible. But image of the sovereign parliament will be restored. If in one session we start from the day of beginning to the day of adjournment without disruption, this is my view. If we can transact the legislative business, even this type of discussion, normally government does not accept adjournment motion. Because Advaniji is correct, it is some sort of censor. But why did I accept it? I accepted being forced that at least the House discuss something. Even if it is not a government business, even if it is for the condemnation of the government, let me accept at least some normalcy will come back, because what we are doing in the first 2 weeks, how it is started. The very demand was it must be adjournment motion, both price, both black money which is being generated from 1948 till 2008. What is the urgency in it? What suddenness is associated with it? An event, however ugly, however pernicious it may be, if it does not have any gross failure of the government in immediacy, how could you link it with adjournment motion? But House could not function, it was disrupted. I thought at least let me concede and let me agree. I am grateful to Sushmaji that we agreed on the text so that, and Advaniji also agreed, therefore there is no harm in it. But the short point which I am trying to drive at, yes, we can do much more if simply we can bring back normalcy. You have demanded for a white paper. I have already, in response to a question on the floor of this House, I stated that I will bring a white paper. I will give all information, whatever information you want, because here there is no conflict of interest. I do not believe that you are protecting black money holders. You may accuse me. I know I do not protect any black money holder. My party does not protect any black money holder. Therefore, I do not find any conflict of interest between your objective, our objective. If there is no conflict of interest, why can't we work together? You wanted discussion. Discussion could have been under 193. 2 precious days would not have been wasted. What additionality you can have except dividing the House on the motion whether the House will be adjourned or not on this issue? I do not know. At least I am perhaps most illiterate man out of 573 members of the Lok Sabha, that I do not understand what great benefit we are having by dividing the House on the motion whether the House should be adjourned or not on the issue of black money generation, how to tackle the black money and how to bring back the black money. There we shall have to take the concrete action. I have given the action plan. You find out, Mr. Minister, there is the deficiency. You do this. Do you want, seriously I am asking you, do you want Income Tax Act would be a penal act? Do you want, is there any dearth of the stringent laws? In 1976, this House itself passed 2 acts, either 75 December or 76. One was Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act, COFEPOSA. And another act, SAFEM-POPA. Please, SAFEM-POPA, Smugglers and Foreign Exchange Manipulators for Feature of Properties Act. What is the status of those 2 acts? COFEPOSA is still in operation. When after 25 years I went to North Block in 2009 January, as I was a young man, Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, I piloted these 2 bills. So I inquired that, is this act still on the statute book? Yes, yes, it is in the statute book, but it is not in operation. There is no dearth of law. But because of the political situation, I would not like to mention the name. Many a times I get the suggestion. I got this type of suggestion earlier also. 1982 when I was Finance Minister, entering into extended funding facility arrangement, borrowing arrangement with IMF, I was told, why don't you allow some sort of amnesty to get back the foreign exchange from abroad. 1991 we were forced to do some sort of things like that and received a stringent comment from the judiciary. Therefore, depending on the economic situation prevailing at a time, we ought to take certain measures. From hindsight, we should not criticize those, and we should not to tackle one problem, be overwhelmed only with that problem, and in our anxiety create many other problems which will ultimately be harmful to you. I thank you, Advani ji, through you, madam, for your efforts to create awareness amongst the people of this country. Don't indulge in generating black money. Don't evade taxes. Don't avoid taxes. Fill the exchequer properly. And if you achieve in your mission, thank you very much. Thank you, madam.
श्री एल.के. अडवाणी. ठीक है, अब एल.के. अडवाणी जी बोल रहे हैं.
When I get the names, please
understand. उनको बोलिए.
Please understand when we get the names.
जी बोल रहे हैं, वो कंसीड नहीं किए, बैठे नहीं हैं. ठीक. अच्छा.
समाजवादी पार्टी बहिष्कार करती है.
Okay. Only one point I would like to suggest, that when we get the names, we shall have to
शांत हो
work
जाइए,
out.
सुनिए.
Suppose I get 100 names. Some of them may be the genuine account holders. Some of them may have export business. Some of them may be investors in that country. Therefore, unless we have I mentioned that there is a circulation was made that MPs' names are there. No MP's name I did find, all the lists which I have got. But I cannot go on saying that this name is there, this name is not there. That is not the purpose. Because I shall have to ascertain, many of them may be the genuine account holder with the permission of the Reserve Bank for their business, for their investment purposes. India is emerging as one of the largest investors in Europe. 3 consecutive years, Indian investors were second in UK. Therefore, these aspects we shall have to keep in mind, that you publish the names, give names, names will get the highlight, but what will have its impact on the industry, on the investment, on the reputation of the people, these things we shall have to think of. Thank you.
Shel Kelwaji ji.